Have you ever wondered why the silence after a breakup feels so loud, almost like a physical weight sitting in the room? You've been told that they are out there living their best life, unaffected and cold, while you're left picking up the pieces. But there is a secret reality happening behind the locked door of their bathroom, away from the public eye. It's a place where the mask finally cracks and the tears start to fall. I know you've spent many nights staring at a screen that doesn't light up, feeling like you're the only one mourning what was lost. You imagine them laughing, moving on, and thriving without a second thought for the heart they broke. But I want you to pull back the curtain for a moment. Imagine them sitting on the floor of their bathroom, head in their hands, drowning in a silence they never expected you to actually maintain. The world sees the version of them that is strong, arrogant, and untouchable, but that's just the armor they wear to survive. When you went no contact, you didn't just walk away, you took the mirror they used to see themselves. Now, they are left staring at a blank wall, and for someone who lives for your reaction, that emptiness is terrifying. The tears they cry aren't like yours, but they are very real and deeply agonizing. You've been the anchor for so long that you forgot what happens to a ship when it's suddenly cut loose in a storm. They thought they could leave you behind and stay afloat, but they didn't realize you were the one keeping them grounded. Now that you've gone silent, the narcissist is drifting into a dark, internal space they've spent their whole life running from. The bathroom is the only place they feel safe enough to collapse. Think about the energy it takes to maintain a lie 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. It's exhausting to pretend you don't care when your ego is screaming for validation. Every hour that passes without a text from you is a direct hit to their perceived power. They expected a chase, a plea, or even an angry outburst. When they got nothing but your absence, the reality of their isolation began to sink in like cold water. There is a specific kind of panic that sets in for a narcissist when they realize they can no longer control the narrative. They can manipulate their friends, their family, and their coworkers, but they can't manipulate your silence. It's a wall they can't climb and a door they can't unlock. In the privacy of their home, that frustration turns into a desperate, hollow sadness. It's a breakdown that happens only when no one is watching. You might feel like you've lost everything, but in reality, they are the ones who are truly bankrupt. They traded a genuine connection for a temporary sense of superiority, and now the bill has finally come due. The tears in the bathroom are the sound of a person realizing they are holding a handful of sand. The more they try to squeeze it, the faster it disappears. They are mourning the loss of their most reliable source of life. When they look in the mirror during those late-night sessions, they don't see the winner they project to the world. They see the cracks in the porcelain. They see the aging, the insecurity, and the deep-seated fear that they are fundamentally unlovable. Without your constant reassurance to drown out those thoughts, the internal dialogue becomes deafening. They cry because they are forced to witness the person they actually are. I want you to understand that their pain doesn't make them a victim, it makes them a consequence of their own actions. They built a kingdom on a foundation of broken promises and expected you to stay in the ruins forever. Your departure is the earthquake they never saw coming. As they sit in that bathroom, they are grappling with the fact that you finally chose yourself over their chaos. That choice is what breaks them down. This journey we are about to take isn't about feeling sorry for them, it's about revealing the truth so you can finally breathe. You need to know that your silence is working not as a weapon, but as a boundary they can't penetrate. While you are healing in the light, they are struggling in the shadows of their own making. Let's look deeper into what happens when the supply runs dry and the narcissist is left truly alone. To understand why a narcissist cries when you go silent, you have to understand that they don't see you as a separate person. To them, you are a vital organ, a lung that breathes for them or a heart that beats in their chest. When you stop responding, it feels like an amputation. They aren't just missing a partner, they are experiencing a loss of self. Without your attention, their internal world begins to rapidly decompress. The narcissist's ego is like a balloon that requires a constant stream of air just to stay inflated. You were that air for a long time. Now that you've closed the valve, the balloon is shriveling up. This isn't a metaphor, it's a psychological emergency for them. The tears they shed in the bathroom are a physical reaction to the feeling of shrinking. They feel small, insignificant, and invisible, which is their greatest nightmare. Most people cry because they miss a soul, but a narcissist cries because they miss a function. They miss the way you made them feel important. They miss the way you smoothed over their mistakes. In the bathroom, they are mourning the death of their convenience. It's a cold, analytical kind of grief, even if it looks like standard sobbing. They are frustrated that the object they owned has developed a will of its own. There is a deep, primal shame that lives at the core of every narcissist, hidden under layers of grandiosity. When you were around, you helped them keep that shame buried. You were the distraction. Now that the room is quiet, that shame is bubbling up to the surface. They sit on the edge of the tub because the cold tile matches the chill in their bones. They are finally feeling the weight of the void they usually hide from everyone. Imagine being addicted to a drug and suddenly being cut off without warning. That is exactly what no contact does to their brain chemistry. They are going through a literal withdrawal from the validation you provided. The bathroom becomes their detox center, a place where they can scream into a towel without ruining their reputation. The tears are a byproduct of the chemical crash that happens when the ego high finally fades away. They often use the bathroom because it's the only room with a lock that nobody questions. It's the one place where they don't have to perform for an audience. In there, they can let the corners of their mouth drop. They can let their eyes go dull. The alpha, or the charmer, disappears, leaving behind a hollow shell that is terrified of being forgotten. They are crying because the silence is a mirror they cannot break or tilt. You see, their entire identity is built on how others perceive them. If you aren't perceiving them, do they even exist? That is the question that haunts them in the middle of the night. They check your social media, looking for a sign that you are hurting, because your hurt would at least mean they still matter. When they see nothing, or when they see you thriving, the realization that they are irrelevant to you is a total ego death. It's important to realize that they aren't reflecting on how they hurt you during these moments. They aren't thinking about the lies or the betrayals. Instead, they are obsessing over the unfairness of your departure. They feel like the victim of your boundaries. The tears are fueled by a sense of entitlement that has been denied. They are crying for themselves, for their lost comfort, and for the loss of a world that revolved around them. This is the stage of the breakdown where they might start reaching out with flying subscribers or fake emergencies. But before they send those messages, they sit in that bathroom and struggle with their pride. They hate that they need you. They loathe the fact that a mere mortal has the power to make them feel this way. The tears are a mixture of rage and desperation, a toxic cocktail that they have to swallow all by themselves. They are realizing that the world didn't stop turning when you left, even though they expected it to. They see you moving forward, and every step you take away from them is a step toward their own insignificance. The bathroom is where they face the fact that they are replaceable. It's a bitter pill, and it doesn't go down easy. They are crying because the fantasy of their own perfection is being dismantled by your simple, quiet absence. Then comes the moment when the hoovering stage begins to fail before it even starts. They pick up the phone to send that "I miss you" text, but they pause. They see that they are still blocked, or they remember the last time you didn't reply. The phone feels heavy, like a useless brick. They realize that their usual tricks won't work this time. The realization hits them like a physical blow, and they retreat back to the bathroom. This is the shift in power that they never anticipated. In the past, they were the ones who dictated the distance. They were the ones who decided when the conversation ended. Now, you've taken the remote control and thrown it away. They are sitting in the dark, unable to change the channel, forced to watch the reruns of their own bad behavior. The power dynamic has flipped, and the narcissist is now the one waiting for a sign. You can almost see the scene unfolding. They look at their reflection and try to practice their sad face for the next time they see you. But the sadness becomes real because they realize there might not be a next time. The mask won't stay on straight. It keeps slipping, revealing the raw nerves underneath. They are losing the battle against their own shadow, and for the first time in a long time, they feel completely powerless. The silence you've created is a vacuum, and nature abhors a vacuum. It pulls all their hidden insecurities into the open. They start to wonder if you've found someone better, someone kinder, someone who actually values you. This jealousy isn't born of love, it's born of competitive ownership. They are losing their prize, and the thought of you giving your light to someone else makes them physically ill. The bathroom becomes a cage. Watch how the rhythm of their life changes. They might become more active on social media, posting happy photos to prove they are fine, but look closer at the timing. Those posts often happen right after a breakdown. The crying in the bathroom is the fuel for the fake smile in the living room. It's a desperate attempt to convince themselves that they still have the upper hand, even though they feel like they are drowning inside. They are haunted by the memories of how much you used to give. They remember the excuses you made for them and the endless chances you provided. Now that the well has run dry, they are parched. They realize that no one else is going to put up with their nonsense the way you did. The tears are for the loss of the perfect servant they thought they had. They are realizing that your kindness was a luxury they couldn't afford. The dramatic irony here is that they spent the whole relationship trying to make you feel small so they could feel big. Now, you are the one standing tall in your silence, and they are the ones curled up on a bath mat. The roles have been reversed by the simple act of you doing nothing. Your inaction is the most powerful action you've ever taken. It has forced them to confront a reality where they are no longer the protagonist. As the days turn into weeks, the panic evolves into a dull, aching resentment. They start to blame you for their pain. How could they be so cruel? They ask the empty room. They convince themselves that your healthy boundaries are actually a form of abuse. This mental gymnastics is the only way they can stop the tears, but it only works for a moment. Eventually, the truth leaks back in, and the cycle of the bathroom breakdown repeats. They are trapped in a loop of their own design. They want to reach out, but they fear rejection. They want to move on, but they can't stop thinking about the control they lost. They are caught in a psychological stalemate with a version of you that only exists in their head now. You aren't there to save them, and that is the most terrifying thing they've ever experienced. The silence is a sentence they are forced to serve alone. This is the turning point where you realize that their suffering is not your responsibility. You didn't put them in that bathroom, their choices did. You didn't make them cry, their inability to love did. As you watch this unfold from a distance, you start to see that the monster was always just a scared, broken child hiding behind a wall of arrogance. The power they had over you was always an illusion that you helped maintain. The collapse isn't a single event. It's a slow-motion car crash that plays out over months of no contact. Every morning they wake up and check for a message that isn't there is another brick removed from their ego's foundation. The bathroom tears become more frequent, more jagged, and less performative. They are losing the ability to convince even themselves that they are okay. The consequences of their cruelty are finally landing. They start to see your face in every crowd and hear your voice in every song, but it brings them no comfort. It only serves as a reminder of the supply they threw away. They are beginning to understand that you were the one who brought color to their gray world. Without you, everything feels flat and meaningless. They are crying because they are bored with themselves, and they have no one left to entertain or manipulate. The most painful part for the narcissist is the blow to their reputation. They know people are starting to ask questions about why you left. They are terrified that the truth will come out, that the nice guy or perfect woman act will be exposed. The tears are shed for the impending death of their public image. They feel the walls closing in, and the bathroom is the only place where they don't have to pretend to be a saint. There is a coldness that settles into a house when a narcissist is left alone with their thoughts. The air feels thinner. They wander from room to room, looking for a distraction, but every corner holds a memory of a fight they started or a lie they told. They end up back in the bathroom because it's the smallest room, the one that matches the size of their soul in that moment. The collapse is internal, invisible, and absolute. You have to understand the depth of their self-loathing. Beneath the vanity is a person who genuinely hates themselves. Your love was the only thing that kept that hatred at bay. Now that you've taken your love away, they are forced to feast on their own bitterness. The tears are a physical manifestation of that self-poisoning. They are mourning the loss of the only person who was willing to love a shadow. They might try to replace you quickly, jumping into a new relationship to stop the pain. But even with a new person, the bathroom breakdowns don't stop. They realize that the new supply doesn't know them like you did, and therefore, the validation isn't as sweet. They are crying because they realize they are stuck in a cycle of shallow connections that will never fill the hole you left behind. They are forever hungry. This is the consequence of treating people like chess pieces. Eventually, you run out of moves. The narcissist is in checkmate and they know it. They are sitting on the floor, staring at the tile patterns, realizing that they played the game and lost. The tears aren't for the bond you shared, they are for the game they can no longer play. It's the frustration of a gambler who has finally run out of chips at the table. The silence of no contact is the ultimate truth teller. It strips away the excuses and the gaslighting until only the bare facts remain. The narcissist is alone. They are unfulfilled. They are broken. In the quiet of the bathroom, they can't hide from these facts. They cry because the truth is a heavy burden for someone who has lived a life of fiction. They are finally feeling the gravity of their own empty existence. It's a dark, honest reality that most survivors never get to see. You only see the discard and the coldness, but the aftermath for them is a hollowed-out life. They have built a beautiful house with no one inside to call it a home. The tears are the sound of the wind whistling through the empty rooms of their heart. They are suffering the natural result of a life lived without empathy or genuine human connection. The narcissist is finally standing in the wreckage of their own making, staring at a phone that refuses to light up with your name. The isolation isn't just physical, it is a spiritual starvation that gnaws at the very foundation of their false self. This is the consequence of treating a living, breathing soul like a disposable object. They are left with nothing but the echo of their own shallow breathing. Now we move toward the light. You've spent so much time worrying about their internal world, but it's time to bring the focus back to yours. Knowing that they cry in secret isn't meant to make you run back to save them. In fact, it should do the opposite. It should show you that they are responsible for their own emotions, just as you are responsible for yours. Their pain is the natural outcome of their pathology. You need to accept that they are human, but they are a broken version of human that you cannot fix. Their tears don't signify a change of heart, they signify a change of circumstance. If you went back today, the cycle would simply start over once they felt secure again. The bathroom breakdowns would stop, the mask would go back on, and the abuse would resume. Don't mistake their temporary misery for a permanent transformation. Healing begins when you realize that their suffering is not your burden to carry. You were never meant to be their emotional trash can or their permanent mirror. You were meant to live a life of your own, filled with people who can actually give back. The fact that they are crying without you is proof that you were their life support, but you were never their partner. You were their fuel, and you deserve to be someone's flame. Take a deep breath and feel the weight lifting off your shoulders. You don't have to check the phone anymore. You don't have to wonder what they are thinking. You don't have to manage their moods from a distance. The silence that feels so heavy to them is actually your freedom. It is the space where your new life is beginning to grow. While they are stuck in the bathroom of the past, you are walking into the garden of the future. Imagine the cinematic ending to this story. In one frame, there is a person sitting in the dark, trapped in a loop of self-pity and regret. In the other frame, there is you, stepping out into the sunlight, surrounded by color and possibility. You are the protagonist of a different movie now. The horror film is over, and the drama has ended. You are moving into a story about recovery, strength, and authentic joy. The final truth about the mask is that it was never about you. It was always about their own inability to face the light. They hid from you because they were hiding from themselves. Your silence hasn't broken them, it has simply revealed what was already broken. You can stop looking for answers in their eyes and start finding them in your own. You are the source of your own validation now, and that is a power they can never take. Your strength is found in your ability to stay away, even when it hurts, even when you wonder if they miss you. Yes, they miss you, but they miss you the way a person misses a lost wallet. You are so much more than that. You are a soul with depth, complexity, and a capacity for love that they will never understand. Staying no contact is the greatest act of self-love you will ever perform. It is your ultimate victory. As you move forward, the memories of the bathroom tears and the secret breakdowns will fade into the background. They will become just another footnote in the story of how you found yourself. You are learning to trust your own intuition again. You are learning that your peace is worth more than any reaction you could get from them. You are becoming the person you were always meant to be before they dimmed your light. Look at yourself in the mirror today. Don't look for the exhaustion or the pain. Look for the resilience. Look at the eyes that have seen the truth and didn't blink. You are a survivor of a psychological war, and you have come out on the other side with your humanity intact. That is something the narcissist will never be able to say. They are trapped in their reflection, while you are free to live beyond yours. You are the one who survived, the one who walked through the fire and came out with your soul intact, even if it feels a little bruised. They are still in that bathroom, trapped in a cycle of their own creation, while you are stepping out into the sunlight of a life that belongs only to you. Remember this when the urge to reach out hits you. Their tears are the price of their own choices. Your peace is the reward for your courage.